Welcome to another round of the Steward's Table where every single dollar has an assignment and we manage money by being diligent, responsible, trustworthy, and efficient. So today we're going to speak about what you can see on the whiteboard. We're going to speak about impulse versus intention when it comes to how you use your money. The money that you have right now in your bank account, you're either using this money with impulse or you're using that money with intention. Now, for a lot of us, and myself included, I lump myself in this. For a lot of us, by default, when we have money, we use it impulsively because growing up, maybe money was not something that was spoken about in the home. Maybe money wasn't something that was spoken about amongst your peer group or amongst the teachers or whomever was an authority figure in your life. The conversation probably was go to school, get an education, go to college, major in something that pays you well, get that degree, hit the job force, start making some money. And for a lot of you, you followed that roadmap. You did it exactly as it was laid out for you. And now you're in the career that you wanted to be in and you're making the money that you want to make. But now we understand that making money and managing money, they are not the same thing. They're two different things and they're two different skill sets. So you understand how to make money. You understand how to apply for the job and create the resume and kill the interview and then get the job and then be proficient at the job so you can earn the paycheck. But once you get the paycheck, now instinctively you use the money impulsively. And so what this looks like, let's just imagine you get paid on a bi-weekly schedule. For a lot of us, you get paid every 2 weeks. So let's say 2 weeks has gone by. It's a Friday. You've been drained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're tired. You're dragging on Friday, but then you get that direct deposit. That direct deposit hits, money hits your bank account, and now you have this second wind of energy. You're ready to tackle the weekend. So let's assume again that you have $1,000 right now that deposited in your bank account. Do not get fixated on the $1,000. Don't get fixated on how much money we're speaking about. Let the principle still guide you nonetheless. So check this out. You have $1,000 in your account and you're ready to tackle the weekend. So what tends to happen is we tend to then spend money based on how we feel, not based on a strategy that we've set in place. So for a lot of us, it's easy when the weekend hits, we get off work, we go home, we start scrolling on social media, and then we find something that catches our eye, and then we immediately go then to Amazon and we put that in our cart, and then now all of a sudden we end up spending $100 before we realize it. And so at this point in time, that $1,000, right, has now gone down to $900. You spent money without intention. You spent money without a strategy. You just spent money based on an impulsion, based on how you felt in the moment. It looked good. You wanted it. And so you bought it. And remember, we're still working in a weekend schedule here. It's a Friday evening. So let's say now Saturday comes and you have a coffee habit. You love your Starbucks, and so you wake up and you follow your routine. And let's say Saturday and Sunday, you get coffee both days over a weekend period. You're buying coffee. It can be said, especially if you're buying coffee for not just yourself. Maybe you're buying for a friend because you guys meet up on multiple days, or you're buying for a spouse, or you're buying for your mom or dad, whoever the case may be, but you're buying for multiple people. Let's just say in a given 2-day period, you ended up spending $50 on coffee alone. So now you have $850 left in your bank account. Money is leaving your account impulsively. There's no intention around how you're using these dollars. Now we can understand over a weekend period, let's say you found a new show on Netflix that you love, you're binge watching it. Because you're binge watching it, you don't want to get up and do much else. You don't like to cook. So naturally what you're going to do, and I do it quite often as well, you're going to hit that DoorDash app. 2 days, you're going to hit that DoorDash app because you don't want to cook. So in a 2-day period, you can easily spend, let's just call it $150 just on DoorDash. You didn't only just DoorDash lunch, you did DoorDash for dinner as well on 2 consecutive days back to back. So at this point in time, you're now left with $700 in your bank account. Money is leaving your bank account incrementally but impulsively, and it's now down to $700. Now, for a lot of us, when the weekend hits, you're going to hang out with friends, you're going to hang out with family, you're going to hang out with loved ones, whatever the case may be. You guys meet up at a restaurant for a dinner, let's say, and you go to a restaurant on a Saturday evening. The family is getting together. You pick up your tab. The meal was great, but you ended up spending, let's just call it $60 at this particular restaurant. So now you have $640 left in your bank account. And last but not least, let's just say you like to shop. It's the weekend. Maybe you like to thrift, or maybe you had it in your mind to go buy a new outfit for this upcoming event that you're going to. Or maybe you had it in your mind that, hey, you know what? I deserve to treat me. It's been a long week. I just got paid. I'm going to do something for self to make myself feel good. And one of the ways you make yourself feel good is, hey, you hit the shopping mall. You do what you have to do for self. And so let's just say, for the sake of the example, when you're out shopping on a 2-day period, let's say, you ended up spending, I don't know, let's say you ended up spending $120 in total going out to shop. So at this point in time, you had $1,000, but now what you're left with is $520. All right, you have $520 left out of the $1,000 that you originally had for payday. But understand this, you get paid on a 2-week cycle. You still have 2 weeks to go, and you did not consider buying groceries yet. Maybe you have a phone bill coming up. Maybe you have to pay for an auto loan payment that's going to be due in the next 2 weeks. Maybe you have credit card debt that you haven't even considered nor paid anything towards yet. You're still going to need gas for your vehicle to get to and from work. Maybe you even have kids that are going to need items as well over a 2-week period. Already you have spent $480 right here, and you have $520 left and 2 weeks left to go. How do you expect? And again, this is just an example, right? We're not saying this is your real life or these are real numbers, but these are real life situations. How do you expect to get by on $520 for 2 weeks and you still have to manage all of these other expenses? Take your situation, how you're using money. How do you expect to use money impulsively and your bank account drops significantly over a weekend period and you still have other responsibilities to pay for and you're waiting for 2 weeks to hit before you get paid again? How do you survive? Most people, they survive by pulling from their savings account, and we wonder why we can't save money. They end up using credit card debt to keep themselves afloat, and we wonder why we can't pay off the debt in full and live a debt-free life. Or you end up having to ask friends or family to float you money, or you end up having to go to a payday lender, right, and borrow money at extremely high interest rates, higher than a credit card. Or some people find themselves in a jam and they're pooling money, 401k loans, and pulling from their retirements of all different sorts. They're trying to find ways to keep themselves afloat, all really because you're spending money impulsively. That is by default how you're using your money. But there could be a different way. Okay? Let's say, how do we use money with intention? How do you use money? By being purposeful and thoughtful in your actions and decisions. That's the definition of intention. Somebody said it differently. They said, intentional living is the art of making your own choices before somebody else makes a decision for you. What does that mean? That means if you have $1,000 and you aren't purposeful and thoughtful in your actions and decisions on how you use that $1,000, well, that just means the credit card companies, the ad agencies, the car market, the housing market, the entertainment industry, these are industries filled with hardworking people who are intentional to get your eyeballs on their product so you can spend money impulsively. If you don't set the intention for your money, then somebody else will set the intention for you, and you're going to end up spending your money in a way that benefits them and not your household. So when you spend money with intention, you're saying up front, I'm going to give every single dollar that I have a game plan first. I'm going to give my money a name. I'm going to create a roadmap for my finances, and then I'm going to go out and spend money. So I'm going to make this quick, very high level. So let's say we have your rent, and let's say you have your credit card debt, and let's say you have fun money, and let's say you also have dining out because that's important to a lot of people. And let's say you have, what else could we do? Let's say you have a vacation that you want to take. And let's say there's a birthday coming up. And then one more. Let's say you have an auto loan. Okay. Auto loan. So check this out. How do we spend $1,000 with intention? Let's say this. Let's say, remember, there's $1,000 right now in your bank account. You get paid on a bi-weekly schedule. Let's say your rent is $1,000. That's just an example. A lot of our rents are not $1,000. But let's say for this example here, your rent is costing $1,000 and you already have money set aside today, right? Because you have the $1,000 in your checking account and you get paid again in 2 weeks. Your rent isn't due, let's say, until 3 weeks. So what you would do is say, if your rent, let me use a different color. If your rent right here down below is $1,000 and you have money today and you get paid again in 2 weeks, you can take today's money and project for next 2 weeks' money and say, well, I can use 2 checks to prepare for my $1,000 rent payment. $1,000 divided by 2 is $500. So you know straight off the bat, out of the $1,000 you have today, $500 is going to be set aside for your upcoming rent payment. And then when you get paid again in 2 weeks, you set another $500 aside for your rent payment. Most people that I see wait till their last paycheck of the month to then pay their largest expense, which is housing, and that ends up cutting their check in half or more than half sometimes. And now you're starting the 2-week cycle with a very minimal amount of money because you burned all the money on one check to pay your largest expense, and you're still spending money impulsively. No wonder life and finances can be difficult at times for people. That's an inefficient way of using your dollars. So at this point, with setting $500 aside, you still have $500 left to strategize, all right? So let's say you have credit card debt, and let's say the minimum payment on your credit card debt, let's just say it's $30. So out of 50, you're going to set aside $30 to cover that minimum payment. So you're good there, right? So at this point in time, you have $470 left to strategize because 500 minus 30 is 470. Next, we have fun money. Now, I hear a lot of people say a budget means restriction. I can't have fun on a budget. My money is locked up. I feel constrained. Let's change the way in which we think about being intentional with money. Budgets do not mean restriction. A budget just gives you permission to spend money guilt-free. So if you want to set money aside for fun, then do it strategically. Remember, your money is finite. There's only so much of your money. So what you do with the money matters. So let's just say for the sake of this example, and there's $470 left, and you want to set something aside for fun. For now, we're going to set, let's just say $60 aside for fun money. All right. So at this point, you're left with $410 left to strategize. Dining out, that's also important to you. Perfect. If it's important, then set some money aside for that expense. Be strategic on how much you set aside. So at this point in time, let's just set $50 aside for dining out. 410 minus 50 is $360 left to strategize, right? We're being intentional with the money. Let's say you have an upcoming vacation, and this vacation, let's say it's 9 months down the line. You know, around the holiday period time, maybe like around Christmas or Thanksgiving, you're planning on going to visit family, and you know you're going to have to book a flight. And you know, maybe you don't want to stay with family, but you want to stay in a hotel, get a rental car, but visit family as well because you'd like to have your space, right? So let's prepare for this upcoming vacation. I love to say incremental savings create big impacts when you start early. So we're starting early. We're treating your vacation like a monthly bill. So if you have $360 left, then let's just say right now we're going to set aside, let's just call it $55 for this upcoming vacation. And remember this, you get paid again in 2 weeks. So in another 2 weeks, maybe you set aside another $55. And then 2 weeks after that, maybe you set aside another $55. Over the course of 9 months, you continue to set money aside each and every pay period. So when it comes time to buy that plane ticket in a few months, call it 6 months, you have a sizable amount of money ready to go. When it comes time to book that rental car, you have the money ready to go. When it comes time to book that Airbnb, you have the money set aside and ready to go. You don't have to rely on credit cards. But if you use a credit card because you like credit card points, that's fine. You have the money already stashed away. You can then pay that credit card payment off in full. At this point, 360 minus 55, that's $305 left to strategize. Your birthday, let's say your birthday is in a few months. You already know you want to go out, you're going to spend money. Treat your birthday like a monthly bill. Start early. So if there's 305 left on this pay period, let's just set aside, let's just call it $45. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of money. 305 minus 45 is $260 left, right? And let's say you have an auto loan due. But let's look at it the same way we did your rent. Let's say your auto loan isn't due for another 3 weeks. You have $260 left, and you also get paid again in 2 weeks, right? So if you take, let's say your auto loan is costing you $300. Your auto loan is $300. 300 divided by this pay period here, right? This pay period here and the one in 2 weeks. So that's 2. So 300 divided by 2, it's $150. So you know today you're going to set aside for your auto loan $150. That means in 2 weeks, you'll set aside another $150 and your auto loan is taken care of. It's ready to go and you can use 2 pay cycles for that. So at this point in time, you're left with $110. So check this out. Already in this example here, it looks completely different than this example here. Here you spent $480 on wants, on frivolous spending, on using money emotionally, and you're left with $520 to get through a whole 2 weeks with groceries and gas, things for your kids, all of that. In this example here, we're saying we use your money with intention. We already set money aside for your largest expense, which is rent. We set some money aside for your upcoming credit card debt. We put money aside for fun and dining out, an upcoming vacation, a birthday, an auto loan payment. We covered way more ground here, and there's still $110 left. So with this $110, now we say, well, what are our priorities? What are our financial goals? Because our goals should dictate how we use excess money. So let's say you want to get out of debt. You're tired of being in debt and you want the debt gone. Well, let's say another, for the sake of the example, we're going to add another, let's say $70 onto the $30 you already put up. So 110 minus 70 leaves you with $40 left to strategize. Now, let's say maybe you're saying, you know what? I want a little bit more money towards my fun money. So you put up another $15 towards fun money. So 40 minus 15, you're now left with $25 left to strategize from your $1,000. There's $25 left. Again, let's just say, you know what we did? You know what we didn't do? Come on now. We didn't put anything aside for an emergency type of fund. So let's say with this remaining $25, you put $25 aside in your emergency savings. At this point in time, your $1,000 has now been spent down to zero. You've given every dollar a name. You've given it intention. You were purposeful and thoughtful with your actions and decisions to give your money purpose. Not the credit card companies, not the ad agencies, not the car market, not the housing market, not the entertainment industry. You set the intention. So what I'm saying is be intentional, give your dollars a job, spend the money down to zero before you go out and actually spend the money. This is how you start to get ahead financially, by setting the intention first, by leading with intention, not by leading with impulse.